right, guys, we got, we're on section 3 objectives. Like I said, at the end of every section, we'll go over this together, and review. But if you guys want to follow along as we go, that's fine too. Describe and identify the 5 classes of fire. Does anybody know those right away? 5 classes of fire? That's what it says. We'll get into it. We'll get there. I just wanted to see what you guys know before we start. Identify different types of fuels for each class of fire. Section 3, 5 classes of fire. Class A, ordinary combustibles. What is an ordinary combustible?
Anything you put in trash. Anything you put in can.
Pretty much trash. Wood, paper, fabric, most kinds of trash. That's my use
It makes an ash.
of it. It makes an ash.
A for ash.
And then get a burn.
A for rat, that's right. Class B. Anybody got any examples of Class B?
Yes.
Yes.
Grease.
Kerosene.
Kerosene, gasoline, oils, propane, natural gas, electrical fires.
And the last 2 flammable liquids.
Rest natural.
Yes.
Are they classified as? Should be
It could be the.
Class B.
Propane.
Propane and natural gas are both liquids.
No, I bet you hung out on that.
Propane
Propane is.
Well, Class 5 fires are flammable liquids and gases.
and gases, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know there's 5 classes. That's why I was kind of asking. So, A, B, C, and A, B, C, and D.
And then metal,
That's D.
Then you got your electrical, energized electrical equipment. Underlining fuels is usually ordinary combustibles. So what is that last, the underlining fuels, usually ordinary combustibles?
What's around what's on fire?
So you got an energized fire, more
electrical
likely
wires
something's,
with rubber coating or plastic coating.
something's gonna trip,
You take electrical power away from it, then it becomes just an ordinary.
then it comes in ordinary, more likely. Class D, special metal. Special metals. What's an example that we run into the other day?
Engine block.
Magnesium.
It's not engine block.
Potassium is one, probably one. Lithium is something we may run into. Car batteries and stuff. Magnesium's a big one, and what vehicle usually has magnesium? A lot of it.
Old Volkswagen, air-cooled Volkswagens.
These fuels are mostly, most commonly found in vehicles and scrapyards. That's probably about the only places you're going to run into a metal fire, scrapyard. Or,
Could find them on mowers too, can't you?
yeah, mowers probably be garage fires.
Motorcycles too,
Some manufacturing plants.
Old mag wheels.
We got anything around here?
Wilson trailer.
Wilson trailer. I got anything?
Salvage yard, the Busman's.
Busman's.
Maybe Durham.
Small engine shops.
And then,
Maybe, I don't know if they do a lot of machining in there.
That's true.
and then your last one's going to be Class K, and it's going to be your cooking fires. Combustible cooking materials, cooking oils, cooking greases, stuff like that. An overview of name the 5 classes of fires that we have. What are the 5?
A.
And is what?
Ordinary.
Ordinary. B,
Flammable gases and liquids.
C,
Electrical.
Electrical. D, special metals. And then K is kitchen. Purple K extinguisher.
Section 4, objectives. Let's go ahead and turn into your handbook here on toxic smoke and gas. Blank is a collection of tiny solids, whoop, that's not right. All right, wood, paper, fabric, and most kinds of trash. What is that?
Class A.
So you can write them down if you both if you want to. Gasoline, kerosene, oils, energized electrical equipment,
Class C.
Potassium, lithium, magnesium,
Class
and combustible cooking materials.
K.
Kitchen.
Kitchen.
Yeah.
But it's in cooking up there.
If I pulled the extinguisher out of my squad car, maybe you talked about this when I went to the bathroom or something, would you be able, can I use that extinguisher on any of those fires, or is that coming up later on?
No, pretty much an ABC extinguisher is gonna, do you guys still carry an extinguisher? It's gonna be ABC, and then I got a little thing here later on, it won't go
Oh,
over
okay.
it. But ordinary ABC extinguishers pretty much takes care of about anything that you'll come in contact with.
Other metals, right?
Other metals, which when you're dealing with metal fires, it's gonna be a lot different. Basically, you're gonna have to smother that fire out. I mean,
It's
it's
still gonna go.
it's
Just
still gonna
containing
go.
it.
You put water on it and it
Will be
reacts violently with water. But for the most part, Navy extinguisher will cover just about anything that you have. But you'll come in contact with it. Know the 4 components of the fire tetrahedron. We'll get into that a little bit. And that's basically how fire, but it is fire. Is basically what the tetrahedron is. Describe each component of the fire tetrahedron and how it sustains combustion. So you got heat, oxygen, and fuel. When heat, oxygen, and fuel come together, creates a chemical chain or a chain reaction. Without one of those 3 things, the reaction can't happen. If the reaction occurs and you take away one of those 3 things, then it stops.
So basically, is heat your ignition source then?
Heat's going to be your ignition source. What's an example of a fuel?
Wood that's been used.
Wood can be burned, just about any kind of fuel. We'll get into that here in just a little bit. Oxygen, okay, obviously lower the air we're breathing. Okay. Fire tetrahedron is 4-sided geometric representation of the 4 factors necessary for fire: heat, oxygen, fuel, and chemical chain reaction. Each component of the tetrahedron must be in place for combustion to occur. Okay? So, like I said, we take one of those away, and that reaction does not happen. That fire will go out. If ignition has already occurred, the fire is extinguished when one of the components are removed from the chain reaction. Okay, so if we already have ignition, our heat source already makes the ignition, and the fire has occurred, the components are, one of the components are removed and the fire's out. Oxygen. And oxidizing agents are the material that yield oxygen. Okay? That's just the air we breathe for the most part. Oxidizers alone are not combustible. They support combustion. So you have to have fire, oxygen for fire, but it's not alone. It's safe. It's very safe. Fuel. Fuel is a material or substance being oxidized or burned. All right. Fuel can be wood. It could be a liquid, gas. It could be anything. Anything that burns. Fuel can be liquid, gas, or solids. Examples of different kinds of fuels include, in Class A, would be wood, paper, fabric. Class B, gasoline, diesel fuel, kerosene. Class B gases, that's where you got Class B and Class B liquids. Class B gases would be propane, natural gas, and butane. Class C, electrical equipment. Heat. Heat is the energy components of the fire tetrahedron. Okay, that's going to be, that's the part of the fire that we need to pay special attention to. That's what's going to get us. Not the O2, not the oxygen. Okay, not necessarily the fuel, but the heat is what we're concerned about when we're entering a building or attempting to. Under normal circumstances, when heat comes in contact with fuel, it provides the energy necessary for combustion. Chemical chain reaction. This is when you have all the heat, oxygen, and fuel. Your chemical chain reaction is a series of chemical reactions where the products of the reaction contribute to the reactants of another reaction. That's the definition of it. That's kind of it. Basically what that is one thing after another. You have this happen and this happen, this happen. It comes together in a chemical chain reaction. It's just a reaction. Comes together. It's just kind of when a flammable material is surrounded by enough oxygen and it is exposed to a source of heat or temperature above the flash point, a fire starts. Okay. Basically, I take this match, put it on this paper. I got my heat right here, my ignition, my oxygen, and then this is my fuel.
To give you a heads up, the left front, the right front on his, on Seth's vehicle is about flat.
It's
On
flat.
the Expedition, it's almost down to the rim.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Before somebody takes off and drives, and I seen it at once, so.
All right, thanks,
Didn't
sir.
mean to interrupt.
Yep, thanks, sir.
So you take this piece of paper, take your heat to it. All right, I got enough heat to start a fire, and then once this paper burns up, it's gone. What happened? When this paper's gone, when I light this paper and it's gone,
No more fuel.
no more fuel.
So fire is up.
All right. And there again, if you take one part of that tetrahedron away, the fire's out. If there is sufficient oxygen, heat, and fuel, it will continue to burn until there is no longer enough of one of the three components to maintain chemical chain reaction of the fire. All right. Go to your study guides here. And
Still video. That's what I said.
you good?
Yep, it's still on.
A blank is a four-sided geometric representation of four factors necessary for fire to sustain. Touchy. You got oxygen, fuel. What's types of fuel we have? Class A fuels.
Ordinary.
Ordinary. Wood, trash. What about Class B? What do we got?
Like gas, kerosene.
And your flammable liquids, your Class B fires can be broken down to Class B liquids, Class B gases. That's the two. They're both Class Bs, but one's liquid, one's gas. Class C fires.
Electrical.
And then what is a chemical chain reaction?
That's where once something happens and another thing happens and that causes another thing to
And the fire, if you got heat, oxygen, fuel, they all come together, creates a reaction, and then that thing burns. Alright, name the components of fire touch hydrant, we did that. Describe what happens if one of the components is removed. Joey, what happens?
Fire goes out.
Fire goes. When we put water on a fire, what are we doing? What are we removing?
The heat.
What about we're putting a Class A fire out with an extinguisher, what do we do?
So you're saying with oxygen.
Smothering, taking with it, oxygen. Describe a chain reaction, Gary just did that for us. This reaction when heat, oxygen, and fuel come together, chemical chain reaction, and that reaction is your fire. Let's take a break here, we can, if you guys want to, we run a little long on the other one. How long do you have it?
So did you stop the last time? It shows 15:45 right now at the bottom.
Okay,
You want me to pause it or
pause it for a second.
you just push the red button?
Oh.
Just hit the space bar.
Space bar? Okay.